Hey, what's going on, everybody, man? We're bringing on some more recent news about Louie Mangione and his apparent health conditions at the time of the shooting. Let's hop right in. Alright, y'all, we're gonna hop right in. Make sure you're comfortable, grab something to snack on and something to sip, and let's pack this video together. Before we do that, do you think this man right here is the shooter? Comment that down below. I'm curious.
Luigi Mangione, the man accused of murdering the CEO of United Healthcare, appears to have some major health issues. What were they, and how did those possibly influence him? Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm accused of murdering the CEO of United Healthcare, appears to have some major health issues. What were...
Am I wrong? Do those people not look different? Like, zoom in on the guy in the small bottom and just compare him. I don't know. This guy right here looks like the shooter for sure. But this guy right here looks different, bro.
Were they, and how did those possibly influence him? Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Mangione Louie. We're learning a lot about Luigi Mangione's health history from what appears to be his own posts on Reddit. Those posts include information about back issues that have been in the news and more. Mangione is behind bars in a prison in Pennsylvania. He's fighting extradition to New York, where he's charged with the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. United Healthcare is the biggest health insurance company in the country. When police took Mangione into custody at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, they said that he had writings on him, a manifesto of sorts. Ken Klippenstein posted the entire thing on his Substack. Part of it reads, "I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the U.S. has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. United is the largest company in the U.S. by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, Walmart. It has grown and grown, but has our life expectancy? No, the reality is they have simply gotten too powerful, and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed. Rosenthal, Moore, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty."
So this is something he wrote, the alleged shooter here, and well, he really made some good points here. I'm just learned something today. So we #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, and we are ranked 42 in life expectancy. Wow, that's crazy, man. And it says, I just read that again. Let me read it. United is the indecipherable largest company in the U.S. by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. Those three things are everywhere in this world. So you're telling me it's fourth in line for the largest company in the world. But yet we're ranked 42 in health expectancy. The foods in here are poison, and fast food and stuff like that, that's a huge, that's already another whole rabbit hole to go down. The food we got in America is terrible, man. I just seen the day where a woman had a McDonald's meal from like 2003. She unboxed it and it still looks like how it looked right out of the box. 2003 or 2007, somewhere around there, don't quote me on it, but it's almost a 20-year-old sandwich, no matter what. It might be a 20-year-old sandwich. It still looks how it did out the wrapper. Just think about that. And that was in 2000s, early 2000s. Think about what it is now. So go ahead and hop right in.
The manifesto doesn't discuss Mangione's health issues or his back surgery that it appears he had in the summer of 2023. Mangione posted an X-ray of pins in his back on his X account.
Look at his spine.
His Reddit account, which has now been shut down, said he suffered from spondylolisthesis. That's where a vertebrae in your spine slips out of place. It's very painful. A former roommate of Luigi Mangione in Hawaii told Law and Crime that there were days when Mangione was fine and other days when he was immobile. Mangione posted on Reddit using the name Mr. Cactus. In August of last year, the Mr. Cactus account posted about spondylolisthesis. The post reads, "It can be easy to get caught up in the plethora of horror stories on the internet. When my spondy went bad on me last year, 23 male, it was completely devastating as a young athletic person. Seemingly all I could read on the internet was that I was destined to chronic pain and a desk job for the rest of my life. That representation was terrifying, inaccurate, and completely destroyed me until I realized the silent majority of fusions are highly successful. Hoping this can help others who find themselves in the same place. This is not to encourage surgery per se, but just to provide reassurance that athletic life is totally normal after fusion if/when the surgery is necessary. This list has more success stories than anyone probably wants to read through. That's kind of the point. There's tons." ABC News reported that another post from February of this year appeared to confirm that Mangione had spinal fusion surgery and that it was successful. "Yeah, I had L5/S1 spinal fusion 6 months ago after 1.5 years of failed conservative treatment. Within 7 days of the fusion, I was on 0 pain meds. That's probably faster than most folks, but my point is just that your body isn't supposed to be in pain and need meds. Even after getting my back sliced open and my spine drilled into, I wasn't in much pain." But there were older posts about health, one from 2018 in which the Mr. Cactus...
So he went through the spinal fusion surgery. It came out successful, 7 days, he's rocking. So I'm not too sure how this is correlating here, maybe because he said he kind of hinted 1.5 years of failed treatment. We don't know what happened in those 1.5 years. I don't know, maybe it's some type of insurance or something. But like I said in my last video as well, which if you haven't watched it, go check it out for this video. The family's loaded, so I'm not really too sure. You know what I mean? Like they own like a multi-million-dollar resort, loaded. Kid went to a nice private school, top tier private school, went to a nice college, got a master's degree. I'm just not sure what's going on here.
Count posted about having trouble sleeping. My question, is this insomnia? Is there a name for this other than restless sleep? I'm a healthy 20-year-old male. Basically, I'm in bed for 8 hours every night, but my sleep is very restless and I wake up frequently. No problems falling asleep. I fall asleep within 15 minutes as long as I sleep at the same time every night. Usually, I'll wake up after 4 hours, then after another 1.5 hours. Then I wake up another 8 or so more times during the last 2.5 hours in bed. When I wake up, I fall asleep within a few minutes. I just check the time to see if I can get up yet.
That's kind of like me, bro.
I fall back asleep quickly. After the 4-hour mark, I move a lot and my sleep feels very restless, almost like I'm half awake. In the last year, these problems have started to get significantly worse, and I wake up feeling unrefreshed no matter how much sleep I get. Sleeping longer than 8 hours has no effect, but getting any less than 8 hours causes extreme exhaustion during the day. I track my sleep with Fitbit if anyone's interested in it. I have done an overnight sleep study and I don't have sleep apnea. A few other things I do: 0 caffeine, 0 alcohol/nicotine, exercise regularly, 0 stress, sleep at same time every night, 20-year-old male, sleep for 8 hours but wake up frequently. Fall asleep quickly upon waking. Feel unrefreshed in the morning, no matter how much I sleep. Is waking throughout the night like this normal? What about waking only in the second half of the night? Is there a name for this? Sorry for all the questions. Any ideas would be much appreciated. Another post from 2018 talked about irritable bowel syndrome. A lot of people have issues with that. I have IBS, but tested negative for SIBO. SIBO stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Would it still be worthwhile to pursue a low FODMAP diet? Has anyone who tested...
See, this is kind of getting a little crazy here. So obviously he's a health junkie. Because, dude, I wake up in the morning. I mean, I went to the hospital maybe one time in my life. And that's when I broke my collarbone. Because... like, bro, I feel like you don't need the pain meds. I mean, if you can handle it, you don't need all these medications if you're just a normal folk like me, of course. Like, so when you're going there, they're prescribing you all these things, they're doing all these things. You don't need it, man. Like, just always think about where you're at 100 years ago, 200 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like, what's different? Because I feel like the world we're going towards now is just honestly affecting human health, at least in America. So... you know, I'm just stay out of the hospital, stay off those medications they be feeding you down your throat. And I'm only going there if I really need to. Like I said, I broke my collarbone a couple years ago. I went there, they gave me a sling, called it a day. That's about it. I didn't take no medication or nothing. They tried prescribing me something, but I was like, nah, I ain't messing with it. Let's hop back in this clip. Let me stop rambling about myself here.
Negative for SIBO ever experienced a change in symptoms on a low FODMAP diet. Thanks. A FODMAP diet is actually an elimination diet where you try to eliminate foods to see what's triggering your IBS. Earlier this year, the Reddit account also discussed a trip to Asia and being obsessed with efficiency and liking traveling with a single backpack. Perhaps the ultimate vessel for minimal efficient living, surpassing even a tiny square home, is a single backpack. To be clear, I don't live out of a backpack full time, nor do I want to, but I enjoy doing so comfortably for months at a time, for certain discrete periods of time when traveling and wanting to fully engage in the experience. It's a useful practice. Why one bag? First, there are the practical reasons regarding air travel. No rushing to the airport early to check bags, no searching for an overhead compartment, no bag fees or worrying about stuff getting lost, and no adjusting plans to drop off luggage before an adventure, explains indefinite one-bagger Jeremy Malouf. Second, there are the more philosophical reasons. There is a sense of weightlessness, freedom, and self-sufficiency that accompanies one-bag travel. At some point, a bag becomes small and light enough that it can be carried without consequence, no longer of any meaningful concern. Things are simply no longer a factor in mobility. Further, the constraint of a single bag is a useful practice in intentionality, and it's a good reminder that we're able to go long periods of time without needing many things. I want to bring in Chris Swecker. He's a retired FBI agent to talk about these health issues. Chris, this is somebody, Luigi Mangione, who was very active online, and it's said that he was writing on Reddit about his health issues, especially the back issues that he was having. He had surgery, and it sounds like he was in excruciating pain. And talk to me about how health issues could be a trigger, possibly, for somebody to maybe start spiraling out of control.
Yeah, I mean, I think health played a role here, as well as sort of his mental state over the last year or so. If you track his evolution, you know, he apparently had terrible back pain, had for a while over a course of several years, came to a head. He had to have surgery. It's in that same time frame, he got laid off from his job, and you know, that it was a fairly, with all his education, all his family background, you know, the success of his family businesses, his grandfather's businesses, he took a fairly mundane job, which he got laid off from. So I think, you know, post-college, post-secondary, you know, or postgraduate work, he kind of ran into life, and life didn't treat him the way he wanted it. You know, he ran into obstacles and challenges, and it just, I think, caused some mental sort of deterioration on his part. So he, you know, he gets time to reads too much, or reads too much into what he's reading, if you will. And I think the combination of the health problems, this life's disappointment sort of crashing down around him, and you got to blame somebody or something, and that happens so often. And he sort of he's decided, he latched on to the healthcare industry, or the you know, health insurance companies, and maybe even his own health insurance company. You know, you have to remember that at age 26, you often get kicked off of your parents' or your company's health insurance, or someone else's health insurance. He didn't have his own health insurance, or maybe there was a COBRA problem with him getting coverage,
health insurance,
which happens all the time. He wouldn't be the first person that got frustrated and angry at a health insurance carrier.
Yeah, that's interesting. You point that out about the age 26 and the fact that kids do get kicked off, even though they're not kids anymore, but they can get kicked off their parents' insurance at that age if they're still on it. That hadn't crossed my mind. There was also some talk in his writings when he was younger about he was having sleep issues, and he was saying he didn't use caffeine, but he was still having issues with sleep, and he was waking up in the middle of the night. And that makes me wonder, you know, he was talking about being tested for sleep apnea, but it just makes me wonder, is this somebody who maybe had mental health issues who wasn't diagnosed? It just didn't pop up on the radar for his medical providers.
Yeah, I think that's highly likely. I mean, the act itself of stalking, researching, building a gun, and then executing someone on the streets of a major city is almost by definition, a mentally unstable act. So, and when you look at his, his digression, if you will, which ultimately came to sort of a crisis point. I'm not a psychologist, but I've been around behavioral science enough to know that this is not an infrequent scenario where mental illness sort of combines with a bitterness towards life in general, and then you pick the culprit and direct all your energies, all your mental energies towards that culprit, because it certainly can't be me. I'm not a bad person. This is not my fault. And you find something or someone to blame. And that in itself, I think, is a mental illness. I mean, we don't know whether he was bipolar, was he schizophrenic. He was displaying extremely erratic behavior in his writings, in his behavior over the last year or so, which culminated in what happened in New York City.
It just sounds like he's had quite a few health issues, and there are a lot of people, who have health issues. I mean, at one point, I think he talked about, some irritable bowel irritable bowel syndrome issues, which a lot of people have that. It just seems like he had, along with the back issues and the surgery that he had in 2023, a plethora of other issues that he was discussing online. I just don't know, all of that combining, plus the job layoff, the chronic pain, and then he becomes kind of radicalized on his own. You mentioned his readings, and we know he commented on the Unabomber's manifesto. Is this something you've seen before where, somebody, it's almost like he became isolated too. His family hadn't heard from him since July, and they lost track of him. And his mother apparently reported him missing last month. So it's just like he disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, this is common. In the field of terrorism and in sort of mass shooters, people who go off the rails, driven by some sort of personal or much broader, personal experience, or life is crashing down around them, and a combination of the ideology that kind of evolves from that. So yeah, this is not uncommon at all. The FBI did a study in 2019 on a lone wolf terrorist, and you could read the study. It basically lays out this spiraling, this digression over a period of time. It's almost a common characteristic for all the mass shooters that we've seen, which again is lone wolf terrorists, and even people who they'll go out of the country and join up with a terrorist organization. It's a dynamic that it can't be my fault. There's got to be another culprit. And they direct all their energy and overactive minds towards that one target. You mentioned him not being able to sleep. That's kind of a sign of an overactive mind, overthinking everything. This is a guy who had means apparently and could live in Hawaii without having a job. So he was getting some financial support, which gave him, I guess, the leisure time and the free time to just basically do nothing but sit around and plot and think.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's what he was doing for the last year.
It is certainly so sad. Somebody who was very intelligent, who had a lot of potential. He's innocent until proven guilty. But the manifesto, it sounds like, according to what we're hearing, it sounds like he is taking credit for this. So much potential, and right now he's accused of murder. Thank you so much, Chris Swecker, for joining me.
Right. Thank you. One last comment. I would look for an insanity defense to develop based on the thread that you just mentioned, the potential for mental illness. We'll see if that comes out when he gets back in New York.
Yeah, we should look out for that, especially with the outburst outside of the courthouse on Tuesday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's it for this episode.
All right, this one's wrapping it up here. for them trying to say insane, I can't see it, man. Just him having a great knowledge, the way he carries out himself, the way he does he researched a lot of philosophies and shit like that. So obviously he likes learning. So people that's struggling from mental illness, they're pretty much just learning how to build guns out of rocks and how to commit their murders. But this guy right here, especially if he was planning for it for a year, this guy was insane, bro. He's a little bit smarter than the most to be doing this. That's why I was kind of throwing him off. But this guy gets proven, man. I'm actually surprised it would be roped up this quick. I'm surprised he didn't leave the country. I know when they said they arrested him, he had a passport and stuff on him, so he definitely was able to leave the country. I'm just not too sure. Maybe he wanted to get caught. Man, I'm not too sure. Y'all put your thoughts and comments down below. I'll be answering every single comment left on this video. Let's go ahead and roll this outro. Alright, y'all, we're going to wrap this one up right here. If you want to type of content, I'm going to link a playlist right here in the video. It's going to have all the reactions on there for y'all to check out. We'll be dropping 5 videos a week, so make sure you go down there. After you subscribe to the channel, hit that little notification bell right next door. Make sure it does a little dance. That's how you know you're really locked in. And that's how you notified when we do drop these bangers. So hopefully y'all can come back again. If you are watching right now at the end of this video, you're a real one. Comment number 5, and I'm going to shout you out in the next video, man. Just show my appreciation to all y'all that's actually watching these videos all the way through. Other than that, appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a blessed day. Happy holidays. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.